di ruang baca saja, tetapi untuk setiap insan pemustaka. Melalui Duta Baca, Sobat Pustaka, dan pengabdian literasi digital, UPT Perpustakaan UM menebar pengetahuan hingga ke pelosok negeri. Literasi menjadi jembatan menuju peradaban yang lebih baik.
Dengan inovasi, kolaborasi, dan dedikasi, UPT Perpustakaan UM menapaki jalan panjang pengetahuan. Dengan pustaka, kita cendekia. Mari kita rawat dan kembangkan rumah pengetahuan kita bersama ini. Kita kunjungi perpustakaan ini, kita baca koleksinya, dan kita kembangkan ilmu pengetahuan. Together, we can create a smart, inclusive, and inspiring library. Perpustakaan UM, OYI!
Cek, Sir. Cek. Bisa didengar Bapak Ibu ya?
Bisa, Pak Sabto.
Lanjut, Bu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera untuk kita semuanya. Yang terhormat Ibu Nur Syayana selaku Kepala UPT Perpustakaan UM. Yang terhormat Dr. Lim Khee Hiang sebagai Senior Manager Academic and Solution Consulting Asepasik dari SAGE sebagai narasumber, dan Ibu Mutiara Korea sebagai moderator dari SAGE. Yang kami hormati pimpinan dan Sivitas Akademik Universitas Krimalang, para pustakawan, dosen, peneliti, mahasiswa, serta seluruh peserta webinar yang berbahagia. Puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, karena pada pagi hari ini kita dapat berkumpul secara virtual dalam keadaan sehat untuk mengikuti webinar yang bertajuk Publishing Smart, Selecting the Right Journal and Understanding AI Guidelines in Academic Research. Perkenalkan, nama saya R. Sabto Ibowo, yang akan bertugas menjadi Master of Ceremonial yang akan memandu jalannya acara hingga selesai. Seperti biasa, kita akan bacakan tinjauan acara untuk hari ini. Pertama adalah pembukaan, kedua sambutan Kepala Perpustakaan UM, Ibu Nur Senior. Selanjutnya adalah pemaparan materi oleh Dr. Lim dengan dimoderatori oleh Ibu Mutiara. Sedangkan selanjutnya adalah tanya jawab dan diskusi, dan insya Allah selesai pada pukul 11.30. Menginjak awal acara, mari kita berdoa sebagai pembukaan supaya diberi kelancaran acara webinar kali ini. Berdoa, dipersilakan. Selesai. Selanjutnya adalah sambutan Kepala Perpustakaan UM, Ibu Nuransia.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Sabto.
Pada Ibu Nuransia, kami persilakan. Monggo Ibu.
Ya, selamat pagi Bapak Ibu semuanya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. So allow me to use English because our guest of honor today, I think will probably be giving the workshop in English. So yeah, good morning. Welcome to UM, and as the head of the Library of Nusa Malang, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar, Publishing Smart, Selecting the Right Journal and Understanding AI Guidelines in Academic Research. First of all, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to SAGE for the collaboration and for the support in advancing academic literacy at our university. And we are also deeply honored to welcome our distinguished speaker, Dr. Lim Khee Hiang, who will share his expertise and insights with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, at Universitas Negeri Malang, through UM Library, we are committed to supporting the academic and research needs of our university community. And as part of this commitment, UM Library has subscribed to SAGE journals. So please check our website to know how to access SAGE journals. And we hope that by subscribing to SAGE journals, everybody in the university can have access to high quality international academic resources, and we can have good support for our teaching, learning, and research activities. And not only having access to journals, because of our collaboration, we can have this kind of webinar fully supported by SAGE journals. And I think that the theme of today's webinar or workshop is very important in today's very competitive and dynamic world of publishing, because we researchers are expected not only to produce strong and meaningful studies, but also to understand how to select the most suitable journals, navigate publication standards, and also using AI technologies to produce good publications. And this is something that is probably pretty new to us, because maybe AI was not very known to us 5 years ago, 3 years ago, but now suddenly everybody in publishing and everybody in academia is expected to master this thing. So I think today's topic is very important. And thank you so much, everybody, for the enthusiasm for coming to our webinar today. And this is showing that the UM academic community is always enthusiastic and interested in continuous learning and striving for academic excellence. So without further ado, I wish you all a productive and inspiring session. Thank you and enjoy the webinar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Bu Nuransia. Ya. Selanjutnya adalah perkenalan untuk moderator kita, Ibu Mutiara Korea. Beliau adalah Senior Library Sales Executive dari Sake Publishing yang mendukung para peneliti dan pustakawan dengan sumber daya yang mereka butuhkan melalui portofolio SAGE di Vietnam, Indonesia, dan Filipina. Mutiara memiliki pengalaman lebih dari 4 tahun di bidang pendidikan dan minat yang mendalam pada transformasi budaya dan masyarakat digital. Di samping penyebaran pengetahuan dan institusi pendidikan tinggi. Kepada Ibu Mutiara, apakah bisa didengar?
Bisa Pak Sabto, selamat pagi.
Ya. Baik, saya persilakan untuk Ibu Mutiara memandu pemaparan materi dari Bapak Lim Khee. Silakan.
Baik, terima kasih banyak Pak Sabto. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi Bapak dan Ibu, juga rekan-rekan dari Universitas Negeri Malang. Terima kasih banyak untuk Bu Nurenzia dan rekan-rekan dari tim perpustakaan yang telah memberikan kesempatan untuk Sage memberikan workshop terkait dengan Publishing Smart. Sebelumnya, perkenalkan kembali, saya Mutiara Khoiria, Senior Library Sales Executive dari Sage Publishing. Hari ini kita akan mendengarkan materi mengenai Publishing Smart melalui Dr. Lim Khee Hiang. Dr. Lim Khee Hiang merupakan Senior Manager for Academic and Solution Consulting dari Sage Publications, dan beliau mempunyai gelar Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering dan juga Doctorate Degree specializing in Heart Valve Engineering dari Nanyang Technological University. Semoga apa yang disampaikan hari ini bisa menjadi ilmu yang bermanfaat untuk Bapak Ibu serta rekan-rekan. Kemudian di sesi terakhir dari workshop ini akan ada sesi kuis dan kami juga akan membuka sesi tanya jawab. Untuk itu, tanpa berlama lagi, saya beri kesempatan untuk Dr. Lim Khee Hiang memulai sesi Publishing Smart Workshop hari ini. Dr. Lim Khee Hiang, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mutiara. Thank you, Chief Librarian, okay, Ibu Nurenzia, and also our MC, and then everyone from the University Negeri Malang, as well as all the prestige professor, researchers, students, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a great pleasure to be here this morning to share with you, okay, on the topic, okay, regarding Publishing Smart, selecting the right journal and understanding AI guidelines in academic research. So let me share my screen first. Can you see my screen now? Yes?
Yes,
Okay,
perfect.
thank you, everyone. All right, okay. I'm not going to self-introduce myself. I think having enough introductions from all the openings. So today we are going to talk about this topic. And when I was given this topic to talk about something regarding selecting the right journal, as well as about AI related topics, I think this is something that's really relevant to many of our researchers today. Now, being a researcher, myself, I think selecting the journal is a very important process, especially after you have completed your research, and then you decided to publish in a journal that will bring you strategically further, to progress your career and make yourself more visible in the future, be it receive more citation or actually receive more opportunity to collaborate, to flourish in this academic research. So when I was first thinking about this, I think it is very important for our user to understand the fact that this is actually a flow for our user, from the very beginning of doing the research, by going to research funder and then trying to write a proposal to secure a funding. And then after you have done your literature, generating a good proposal, demonstrating your impact of your research. And, once we get the approval for our research, then we're going to conduct the research. And by the end of the research process, you're going to write your paper. All right. Then, of course, then you submit your article, then you go through the peer review process, and then before you go for the online publication, and finally, you are going to promote your article. So this is actually a repeated process for many of our users. But today's topic, all right, we shall just focus on, a section, all right, on how to actually write your article. We are not going to go through about, exactly how we are going to write your article, in details, but it will be a very important section whereby before even you write your paper, what are the journals that you are going to select for your publication? right? Writing a journal, right? Okay, for your publications are actually important. That it is important that we need to look into, okay, the relevancy of the research, identifying the right match to ensure that, okay, I would say the journal metrics, such as the schemaco journal ranking or even the impact factors, are something that match your school requirement. And then, of course, we need to also make sure that we publish strategically based on your personal, okay, or your, research team objective. So there are many metrics for you to choose on how you publish a journal. Okay, some of them we will look into the aim and scope. Some of them we will look into the strength of the editorial, and then of course we also need to look into the journal metrics, and then of course we also need to understand the fact that, okay, who are the readers we were actually approaching, and then what are some other metrics about, such as their publication criteria, etc., whether we are able to meet them. Okay, so today's we'll go through one by one by mentioning them. So the very first one is, of course, okay, we need to select the right, or we say the relevant journal. Why this is so important? Naturally, first thing that we need to do is that whenever we decided to write a journal article, we need to actually decide that what kind of article types that you need to write for. So it can be, okay, research article. Most of us will actually write a research article, and sometimes we will also go to talk about a discussion or even a meeting report. But most commonly, I would say, most of us will actually writing, okay, a research article for our user. But before you even write that, it is very important that we look into the scope of the journal coverage. The aim and scope of the journal coverage, okay, is considered, okay, one of the very first step and the most important step that each and every one of us must do. Now, for example, okay, just look into the Journal of Management as one of our top journal in Sage Journal. Looking into the journal itself, the title of the journal itself is not, I would say, reflective enough for us to understand what exactly, okay, what kind of scope of discipline that this particular journal, okay, will cover. So if we read into the aim and scope and, dive deeper, what you will be able to find that this journal also published, okay, cover the domain in business and strategy, the policy, entrepreneurship, human resource management, organization behavior, organization theory, as well as research methods. So this will actually give us, as a user, a good understanding that if today your research is fall under all these domains, then this likely will be a good journal for you to consider. By just looking into the journal itself, usually you don't actually have a full understanding about the domains coverage. And that's the reason why reading into the aim and scope become one of the very important criteria. Now, if today we don't read into this enough and we just anyhow do a submission to this journal, then that's actually end up to be, the commonly so-called desk reject. Because, the editorial would, politely inform you that your research topic, okay, does not match, okay, with their coverage of the research domains, and that's the reason why they won't be able to proceed. Yeah, so don't waste time on this. Make sure that we actually read the description as well as the aim and scope to ensure that we have actually good coverage. Number two, does it has an editorially strong, okay, I would say editorial board? This is something that's also important. Why do I say so? Now, just like, in many industry, let's say in mechanical engineering, okay, we always talk about a standard, right? Like the ISO standard. Why we need a standard? Same here. Publishing line also have a good editorial practice. So whenever you have a good editorial practice, right, it will actually ensure the fact that this particular journal will be able to be listed, or we say index, okay, in what we so-called international abstract and indexing databases, such as the Scopus, such as the Web of Science. Being able to list it here is actually very important because it helps you to reach out to international audience, enhance your visibility, and therefore the potential for you to get more citations coming in the future. Now, imagine today, like, the government will actually encourage all of you to publish only in the Scopus Index journal. Therefore, you would like to actually ensure that, okay, this particular journal have a strong editorial, I would say, standard that will allow them to be listed or indexed in Scopus or Web of Science. Being able to index in both these, okay, international, I would say, abstract indexing database are important to many of us because, today in Indonesia, the government has been, encouraging us to use Scopus as the criteria, as a referencing criteria. to publish your paper, but you never know if today you go to, you know, another country, okay, to do your, okay, let's say, you know, research, okay, with another collaborator in the world, they may be actually using Web of Science, okay, or impact factors as their criteria, okay, for the publication. So being able to, you know, listed in all these international abstract or if you say indexing database are important, not only to reach out to more people, but also to ensure that, okay, you have a good report card to, you know, submit, okay, when the time is up for you to discuss about your application of your tenureship or being the professorship, etc. So looking into the good editorial board become very important. Now, generally, okay, be it whether you use it for impact factors or maybe you will be considering the schemaco journal rankings, okay, these numbers actually are important criteria for us to measure, okay, the performance of a journal. So to many people, okay, that, you know, I come to, you know, talk to discuss with, I noticed that actually many of our users don't fully understand or say appreciate the numbers here. Okay, to them, okay, by default, we will say that the bigger the number, all right, the better it is for us to submit. But we do also understand the fact that, okay, the more difficult it is, okay, to get accepted. So what does this number, let's say for example, okay, this, okay, journal of management, okay, which has an impact factors of 9.0 represents, okay, or it does it mean? So in short, okay, this is actually a statistical number, or we say a ratio, all right, to actually let us know that if today I manage to publish a paper in this journal, over a period of 2 years, on average, the chances of the probability of the article of my paper getting citations will be 9 times. All right, this is a number that represented by, okay, impact factors. You see, and that's the reason why, okay, many of our users find that it is very important for us to publish in a bigger, or we say higher impact factors number. Okay, similarly for schemaco journal ranking, the higher the better, because it means that within a stipulated time frame, it will actually give us more chances, or we say the probability, or we say the opportunity to get a higher citations. There's no guarantee saying that if I publish in this journal and then within that 2 years time frame, I will definitely get a nine times citation. There's no guarantee, because on average, some articles are higher than 9, some articles are lower than 9. But on average, every article supposed to have a 9 citations. Yeah, so that's the reason why we usually actually target, okay, a high impact factors journal or high schemaco journal rank, okay, journals. Yeah. However, one thing very important that for us to understand the fact is, impact factors, okay, they are discipline dependent. So as you can see from here, okay, that, okay, okay, let me, yeah, as you can see from here, the international material review have an impact factors of 15.5, while trauma, violence, and abuse have an impact factors of 5.4. Now, when you do the comparison, right, seems like, okay, 15.5, which is 3 times larger than 5.4, is definitely a better journal. But the fact it is not necessary. You have to actually understand the fact that, okay, impact factors and, okay, or schemaco journal ranks, they are all discipline dependent. So for international material review, which actually falls under the multidisciplinary material science, and trauma, violence, and abuse, it will fall under 3 different so-called like subject disciplines, such as family studies, social work, and criminology and penology. When you look into this number, right, okay, this 15.5, out of the 460 journals, right, this 15.5 will help this journal, okay, to be ranked number 29, okay, which is like, you know, ranked number 29 among 460. But 5.4 itself, right, although the number relatively looks smaller, however, within the family studies, there are 66 journals out of family studies. This number will actually help to win this particular journal to be number 1 ranking. So does it as well. Okay, for social work, out of 94 journals, it ranked number 1. So you can imagine if today you are able to publish a article in trauma, violence, and abuse, you are really published into the number 1 journals in family studies as well as social science. Okay, even in criminology and penology, of 111, it is ranked actually number 2. So that's actually the impact. So do actually pay attention to all this, okay, but don't feel, okay, I would say, okay, depressed if you find that your number are smaller. But you have to understand, okay, more important is that what does this number, okay, will help you in terms of ranking in the particular discipline that this journal falls under. Yeah. So Other than the impact factors, okay, you can also consider other metrics such as, for example, the 5 years impact factors. So for many of our users here who are, doing your research on the area of social and behavioral sciences, yeah, then you know that, okay, because the citation itself is also have a citation pattern, or we say the citation characteristics. For science, technology, and medicines, usually they are actually, I would say, receive a lot of citation within a shorter time. They are more active, and that's the reason why, okay, when they have a lot of citations coming in, published very fast and quick, and that's the reason why usually we will measure them using a 2 years impact factors, due to the fact that, okay, the citation patterns will receive a citation peak within a shorter period of time. On the other hand, for social and behavioral sciences, or for those that are within the humanities, and social science, usually because the publication, or we say the research activity, will take a longer time to see the impact, and the number of citations, the number of publication also lower, and that's the reason why it takes 5 years time in order to see the citation peak. So it really depends on your discipline, then you will choose, okay, a metrics that's more relevant to you. Yeah. And of course, you also have this citation indicator, which I will not explain in detail, but literally it just tells you that the fact that we normalize to the average citation, in that particular discipline to, okay, a number of 1. Anything above 1, it means that it is actually receive an impact above the average article. Anything below 1, it means that it is actually have a impact that is below the average paper. So you can see that, like, for example, this one, trauma, violence, and abuse, is 1.36. It means that it is 0.3 times more, okay, impactful, okay, in the than the average articles, okay, in these disciplines. Yeah. Okay, so but of course, okay, I would say that, okay, be it, okay, journal impact factors alone, it is not just the only metrics that you can consider, okay? So for many of us, okay, who are also considering schematical journals rank or even the site score, these are something that you can consider. Really depends on your school or maybe the government initiative, okay, and the directions, yeah? All right, so something that's very important, that is about the open access versus subscription. Okay, so I need to actually explain this very clearly, because when you come to submissions, would you want to submit make your article open access, or maybe make your article to be a subscription article? When we say subscription, what we really means that it is an article that the user need to pay, okay, to read them. So this actually says that you can mention that like a paywalled article, okay, or subscribe article. Yeah. Now, very simple. Although it is a fact that, having open access means that most of our user, okay, our readers will be easily accessible to this paper, and therefore the chances of downloading, the chances of reading them, the chances of citing them will relatively increase. However, okay, as a proper research practice, we don't cite a paper just because we have easy access, right? Usually we cite the paper because the paper is relevant. So having that said that, right, although it enhance, okay, or we say it kind of like it will help, okay, in terms of your visibility for sure, because people can easily, read your article, okay, without any subscription needed. However, it doesn't ensure, okay, that the citations will definitely go up. Yeah. Okay. Readability is there, accessibility is there, visibility is there, but citations, why not necessary? Because you only cite when they are relevant. You don't cite for the sake of citing. You don't cite because it is easily accessible, right? So that's the reason why. So whether it is a subscription article or open access article, it doesn't really kind of like, supposedly, it doesn't really directly impact in terms of citation, but in terms of visibility, yes. But we all understand the fact that if today you want to, publish your article in the methods as an open access, then we need to talk about the charges that paid by the authors. That is what we usually so-called article processing charge. Yeah, article processing charge. So what exactly is article processing charge? So article processing charge, right, usually in short we call APC, okay, are needed for, okay, go open access article. Okay, for hybrid journal, okay, why I do it? Yes and no. Okay, so let me explain some concept to you. Okay, as a researcher, okay, in the publishing cycle, okay, we as an author who write the paper, then we submit to a publisher, and then finally, okay, the publisher publish it, and then finally, okay, the readers who will actually, okay, read the paper. Traditionally, when we submit the paper, okay, as a traditional article model, the author do not need to pay a single cent. Yeah, it is free to submit your article to the publisher. then the publisher will also do the peer review process freely for you. And after that, let's say your article got accepted, and then you just have to do the copyright transfer to the publisher. And finally, the publisher will promote the paper, and then the library, or we say the user, will pay a subscription fee to read the paper. So the payment usually falls under the library, or we say as a part of the subscription fee. Now, then what happened here is that when the open access, I would say, publishing model came up, the whole idea actually flipped it the other way around. As an author, you choose to publish your article to a model like free, to a publisher for free for review process. So after they go through the review process, these are all still free. Yeah. Then let's say your article got accepted, then the publisher will approach you asking the fact that whether you want to make your paper to be open access. Now, if you choose to make your paper to be open access, then the publisher will ask, for a publishing cost, we call article processing charge, which is the APC here. You can see it, yeah? And this APC will become a fee that's payable by the author. Yeah. Naturally, the author very seldom will fork out from their pocket and feed the fee. So what they will do is that they will usually have to write inside their their original proposal, to request that the funders has set aside, some money to pay for the APC to publish their paper. So if you, in your original proposal, you already set aside some publication fee, we say the article processing charge, to make your article open access, then you can use that amount of money and to pay for your article to be open access. Then once you do the payment, then the publisher will proceed to the publications, and finally, this article will be made open access and made available to the whole world. Available to the whole world, readers for free. So but you only pay one time and for all. And of course, the advantage is that I would say that not only increase the visibility, but at the same time that the authors actually retain certain level of copyright to that paper, according to Creative Commons law. Now, this is about open access versus a subscribed article. Yeah. But it is very different. It is very different from at the journal level when we say about the Go open access. Open access is like a publishing concept. Yeah. But Go open access is at journal level. All right. So when we say a Go open access, it means that every single article inside that journal has to be open access. There's no choice. There's no options to choose. Meaning to say, if this journal A is considered gold open access, then that means that every single paper inside must be open access. In other words, if today you choose to publish in a gold open access journal, then you must make sure that you have the APC ready, before you do the submission. You know why? In case that your article, pass through the peer review process and got accepted, then straight away they will actually ask you to actually pay for the APC. And if you only then, if you realize that you don't have an APC, and then you are not able to proceed with the publication, then you are wasted the entire review cycle, whereby you want to change it to a subscribed journal, then you have to actually go through the entire peer review process all over again. Because the peer review process is individually controlled by the editorial of the journal itself. So it's not transferable to another journal. Yeah. But what about hybrid choice? Hybrid journal. Now, traditionally, we mentioned about the traditional journals, right? This traditional journal, theoretically, user don't have to prepare the APC. However, because of the funders mandate or the requirement that if you use my funds to do your research, you are required to publish your findings in an open access journal. Or no, not necessarily, in an open access setting, not really a journal, right? So other than publish in the Go OA, the user will also be allowed, in order for the user to be also allowed to select this traditional journal and only make their papers into open access. Therefore, it is very important for our user to have the options, to publish in a traditional journal, with the options to make their paper into open access if they wish to. So in other words, after you submit to a journal, which is a traditional journal, and this traditional journal will go through a free peer review process. And upon acceptance of your article, then the publisher will actually give you the options. Do you wish to make your article into open access or a subscribed article? If you choose to make your article into open access and you have the funding, in fact, you are able to make only your paper into open access. Okay, but in the event that you don't have the article processing charge with you, you don't have to worry. You can still proceed to publish your article as a subscribed article. All right, and you don't have to pay a single cent, and you let the readers pay. So for this type of journal whereby, okay, some articles are open access, some articles are not open access. So it's a combination between open access and not open access. Then we call these journals hybrid journal. And now most of the traditional journal, or we say the traditional subscribed journals, they will fall under the hybrid model. Okay, so literally, right, okay, you understand the fact that there are only two models for you to consider. Number one is whether you want to go for OA journal, where every single paper must be open access. If you choose this one, make sure you already have your APC ready. If you don't have an APC, it is actually safer, all right, to actually select a hybrid journal for your publications. Okay, during the peer review process, which will take about, let's say, 4 to 8 months, depend on the journal, then you still have the time to go to apply for funding as an APC, right? In case that you manage to secure some funding for your APC and your article happen to get accepted, then, you can still actually put in the APC and make only your paper, okay, to be open access. If not, don't worry, you are not wasting your peer review time, okay? If you got accepted and you still cannot secure the APC, you can still safely proceed, okay, to publish your article in the format as a subscribed article. All right, so that's the reason why it become, published in the hybrid journal is actually safer if you don't have a secure APC. If you do, then you have options between hybrid as well as Gold OA. So what exactly is Green OA means? Okay, Green OA is actually a publication, also like a concept. Okay, so what happened here is that when you first submitted your papers to a publishers, right, this is considered a submitted version. Okay, a version that has not gone through the peer review process. Yeah. Then you will have to, of course, proceed with the peer review process. And, finally, let's say this article got accepted, then version 2 is considered the accepted version. All right. And then what happened here is that the publishers will come back to you asking you to, ensure the proofreading, and then we'll do the copy editing and typesetting, etc. By the time we finish everything, then it will become a published version. All right. Or we say the versions of record, which is version number 3. Version number 1, you can ignore because it has not gone through the peer review process. It is actually version number 2 and number 3, which are exactly similar in terms of content, because both of them have gone through the peer review process and they have been, made perfect or made accurate, okay, after the peer review process. The only difference is in terms of the, the citing, the alignment, etc. Right? So what happened here is that, okay, Sage being a large publishers that encouraging, research, research collaboration, etc. We allow our user, based on Green OA policy, to immediately, using your second version, okay, to upload into your author, or that means your personal or institutional repository without embargo period, meaning without a restrictive time frame. All right. Some publishers, okay, they will restrict you, meaning to say you cannot actually use the version number 2, okay, to upload into your institutional repository until a certain time, let's say after 1 year or after 2 years of publication. All right, but for Sage, we do not set any time frame. You can almost, okay, immediately, the moment you receive the letter, you can immediately upload your second version, which is the accepted version, okay, into your personal or your institutional repository without embargo period. This is something that, okay, very, very helpful for our user, whereby you can use the second version to further your studies. Okay, even if today you publish your article, okay, the final version, okay, in the set of, let's say, subscription article, all right? So you don't have to worry about these things. So it will actually enhance, actually kind of like helping you in terms of your collaboration purposes. Yeah. Okay. The next one is, of course, thinking about the publishing frequency. Now, as all we understand the fact that if today you want to publish your articles, right? Okay, sometimes, okay, not every journals will have, I would say high frequency within a year. So you can see that, okay, the Oriental Anthropologists, right, okay, is a journal that will, in a year, they will publish, okay, about only 2 issues. All right. On the other hand, International Material Reviews will publish 8 issues in a year. So this is something that really for you to decide. So, sometimes when you understand the fact that by now, if you decide to, publish an article and it will take about, let's say, 8 months for the review process, then that means if you are required, to publish at least one paper, all right, by the end of the year, then you know that if I choose a journal that has a higher frequency, then the chances that my article getting accepted and being assigned the volume issue, etc., will be on time, all right, as compared to the other one. The good news is with the digitalization of all the a database now, we all understand the fact that the moment your article got accepted, your article will always be put as an online first, meaning to say it will be actually made available online for our user to read, to even download. It's just that they will not necessarily already be issued a volume or issue the page number yet. All right, but the digital object identifier, the DOI for that particular paper, the online first, is already available. So for most of the time, I would say that the university are quite forgiving as long as you had your papers published and you are able to produce your online first article with the DOI. Usually they will accept that. Yeah. So by the time when the volume, the issue, the page, the year are all made available, the bibliometrics information are all made available, then you just update to your schools or your department, accordingly. Yeah. So I hope this is something you can consider. Now, of course, the next metrics that you would like to consider is, of course, reading into the journal metrics here. Now, it is very often our user, will come to us and asking us saying that, when I first submit your paper, how long do I need to wait? Sometimes you will wait for one week, sometimes you wait for 2 weeks, still haven't come back. But then now Sage make all these things very transparent to many of you. Here, whereby you don't have to, keep worrying about whether your article, I would say your submission papers, do not actually make on time. So first, when you submit your papers here, all right, you will see into the first metric, that means the first decision. How long does it take, for the editorial to come back to you? So remember the very first metrics that I mentioned about the aim and scope? This is usually will affect this first decision time frame, but usually it's actually short. So for example, today, I submit to a wrong journal without reading the aim and scope. So within about 2 years, 2 days time, no, sorry, not 2 years, 2 days time, I will receive a first decision. So the user will come back to me telling me whether my articles will proceed with the peer review process. Yeah, so it's quite straightforward. So you only need to take 2 days. All right. For let's say if the journal editorials are happy that my journal, that means my domain, my research domain are matching what they are, covering, fair enough. Then in 2 days, they will be happy to inform me that my journal will proceed with the peer review process. Yeah. Then the next metrics come in, peer review. So this peer review release, means that it will take about the entire cycle, the entire complete cycle of the first round of peer review. Meaning to say, after the editorial board take my paper, they send to, let's say, 2 peer reviewers, and then they will give them, let's say, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, for them to review and come back to the editorial, plus the decision of the editorial. Then they will make the first decision, whether your articles is get accepted, your article got rejected, your articles got accepted with minor revision or with major revision. All right. So these are the time frame, peer review, it will take. So for this particular journal, International Material Review, you can see that it takes 97 days, all right, to come back for the first peer review decision. All right. Now, of course, we all understand the fact that, it's very rare, that our user will get, just accept, within the first review cycle. Usually they will ask for some minor revision or a major revision. So if you have the major revision, then you have to go through the second round and third round. And from the very first day that you submit until finally it got accepted, so you can see that it will take about 249 days. About how many? About 8 months plus. About that. Yeah. So that's only for this particular journal, right? So different journals have different criteria. So I will encourage you to go to Sage Journal and explore and then see what are the journals that suits your criteria, your domain expertise, your research discipline, and you like to consider, and how long does it take. So let's say if you have 5 journals that you have shortlisted, then you can look into the journal metrics. Then based on your current, I would say, progressed, okay, in your research. For example, if today you are a student, right, you know that you have to publish within 6 months time, okay, then this 249 days on average, right, will be slightly longer, right? So this could be, you know, a journal that you will not want to consider. But of course, let's say if your school are more flexible with that, you can first, you know, get your degree first, and then you can continue with your publications. If that is allowed, then you can still consider publishing this particular, let's say, journal, which is actually very, very high rank. Yeah. Then of course, then the acceptance of publication here really tells you the fact that, okay, once your article got accepted, and then it will take about 33 days to be given online available, and the acceptance rate is one of the important criteria also for our user, where that they will know that among 100, every 100 articles submitted, about 24 of them got accepted, meaning to say 76 of them will get rejections. Yeah. So this is something that just for you as a reference, but just make sure that you don't feel, you know, obsessed, okay, with this particular number. All right. This is number just for your reference, right? It only shows that these journals, okay, receive many, many papers. You are in great competitions, and among the pick and choose, you know, therefore the rejection rate is going to be higher or lower. All right. So this is something for you to consider. Now, after saying so many different, I would say, metrics for you to consider, right? If you still cannot make a decisions, right? Okay, maybe I will suggest something very simple and straightforward. That is, you can consider a journal that you very often read and cite regularly. So you imagine, right, today you have journals, okay, something, imagine today you are doing your research, right? Naturally, it depends on your, I would say, levels of degree, be it a master or PhD, right? Sometimes you may read about, let's say, 120 articles. Some of them maybe read up to, you know, 100 plus to 200 journal articles, but not all articles that we will cite. But if you give it a second look, all right, what I would say is that, okay, think about it. Okay, how many among the, let's say, 150 journals articles that you have read, are they all coming from a similar journal, or are they coming from 150 different journals? No, they cannot be 150 papers from 150 different journals, right? Most of the time you are reading, okay, similar, I would say article from a similar journal, right? So if you read journal 1, journal 2 very often, then this is actually a very direct and the most simple way of identifying, okay, a relevant, I would say, journal that for you to consider. Okay, but bear in mind, if today you are doing on, let's say, cross-disciplinary, and maybe if it is really something that, you know, you're like one of his very first few people who do this kind of cross-disciplinary research, then you may want to actually explore a journal that you do not necessarily commonly read, all right, but a journal that, you know, that actually, you know, embrace the cross-disciplinary research domain, okay, which, you know, you would like to consider. Yeah, of course. It is also very important the fact that we also must read the submission guideline. Okay, in every journal homepage, there will be one submission guideline for you to consider. And like it or not, okay, when you want to submit to that particular journal, you must submit to that, I would say we will say that you must submit the journal accordingly to the submission guideline. And these submission guidelines are very important that for us to follow. Like, for example, this journal of hand surgery, they say that, okay, the English must be followed only with British spelling. But Journal of International Medical Research, they are more, you know, they are more flexible. They say you can type it out in US, you can use the English spelling, it doesn't really matter as long as you are consistent throughout. And of course, then they will tell you, okay, you must use a word processing, and then you must actually use a double spacing, and the other maybe say 1.5 spacing, you know, then the margin can be left, right, 3 centimeter, etc. Okay, so this one even asks you to say, do not use he or his. Okay, where sex of a person is unknown, use a non-gendered terms. You see, so there are many required, and you have to follow accordingly. Of course, finally, it's about the referencing style. Some of them, they will ask you to actually using the Vancouver style. Some of them will ask you the MLA style, APA style, whatsoever style. Okay, you just follow accordingly. If you do not follow, then you know that, okay, they will definitely come back to you and ask you for a minor revision. Okay, that's quite common. So another example here, you can see it here. Okay, this is actually asking you to actually write your abstract, okay, in the form like, okay, very, you know, separated into 4 different sections, very clear, straightforward, all right? But another one, just put everything into one paragraph, and then they will tell you what is the limitations of the number of words. Some of them will tell you 250, 300, 400. So you just have to you know, follow accordingly. Yeah. So you can see that, okay, veterinary pathology, they will mention that you are required to even register, okay, an ORCID number, plus the fact that you need to acknowledge the funding, and then declare any conflict of interest. Another one, okay, they have different fields, okay, for you to kind of like, okay, satisfy. That is number one, you have to put acknowledgement, and then okay, you have to actually highlight the study boundaries and limitations. Yeah. So there is actually different journals who have different fields requirement. And one more important criteria that you can consider when selecting the journal is, of course, whether that particular journal is published any special issues. Now, special issues usually are an issues that really kind of like when they emphasize on a particular special topic out of their normal aim and scope. So for example, this journal of macro marketing, right? They intend to actually launch a special issue specialized on AI, okay, and social responsibility. And the area, right, okay, is all touching on a lot of AI. So imagine if today you are working on, okay, macro marketing and happen that you are using a lot of AI, then this is something that you involve your research. This will be a journal that's good for you to consider because you can directly, okay, I mean, write your research findings to the correct audience, right? To the correct audience. And this is actually very important, not only to make yourself visible within the shortest possible time, but at the same time, when you read about this particular special issue, you can also identify the real user that, you know, doing exactly similar, I would say, in journal interest, okay, to what you have been doing it now. Yeah. So this is something that is important to consider. Now, something to be mindful, not all journals will have an impact factor or schemaco journal rank because not all journals, okay, even in 6 journals, right, okay, all of them are listed in Scopus or Web of Science. The answer is no. Okay, about 60-70% of them, okay, are currently indexed in Web of Science and Scopus. The rest are still, you know, okay, I would say because they can be newly launched journals, they can be a journal that, okay, not achieving, okay, the full-fledged of a good so-called the publishing, okay, requirement yet, and that's the reason why, okay, they are working, okay, towards this. So if today your publications require you that you must be a Scopus index journal, you must be a Web of Science index journal, then you know that, okay, you only have a handful of journals to select, yeah? And then, but of course, okay, I would say that, okay, 700, 800 is really quite a lot, okay, for you to consider, all right? Now, also, you have to read your scope carefully, okay? Then for those that are working on, let's say, you know, your research, I would say, focus is more on the regional or more on the local, then you would like to consider a more regional or a local journal rather than international. So these are all the things that you can consider. If you are not sure, then you just use, okay, a free service called Think, Check, and Submit, okay, which will actually help you to actually ensure that, okay, you select the, okay, to the right journal for you to submit. Now, it is very important the fact that, okay, even if a journal, right, okay, after you do some Google search that they claim they have impact factors, don't trust them entirely, right? Out there, okay, there are a lot of scamming, okay, that's happening, okay, that they are trying literally trying to make money, okay, and try to, you know, con our researchers, okay, hard work, whereby they will tell you, okay, these journals, okay, contain impact factors, okay. In fact, these journals are not, okay, indexed in Web of Science, okay. They pretend that they are indexed in Web of Science. They pretend that they are indexed in ISI, but this ISI, the real ISI is called Institute for Scientific Information, but the fake one is that they will also call themselves ISI, but the ISI here is represent International Scientific Indexing. It is totally different. But for researchers who are not in this, you know, not in this industry, a lot of time, you know, they got cheated, okay, okay, thinking that the ISI, okay, these journals, okay, are indexed in Web of Science, the impact factors are real. The fact is, these are not impact factors, okay? And I just checked recently, okay, this website is still available and it's still out there to actually con our user. So if today you submit your paper to those, okay, I would say predatory journal, then you know that you are wasted all your efforts, okay? Because once you submitted, it's very difficult for you to, you know, retract the paper and then resubmit to a proper authenticated, I would say, journal. So that's the reason why I say that, okay, if today you want to do your submission, always remember, you go to the library, ask the librarian who is the expert to ensure that, okay, you submit to a trusted partner. If not, you're not sure today, you know that, okay, your library has access to 6 journal, you know, to all these big publishers, then you can just select and, you know, the journal from the, you know, I would say the authentic, okay, the official publisher website. And then from there, right, you know that, okay, these are the journal that you can submit. Now, bear in mind, a journal name can look similar. They can look similar. Okay, but every journal will have a so-called the ISBN number. All right, so from there, right, okay, you can actually kind of like SSN ISBN number. So you can actually kind of like remember to actually use the correct ISSN number and submit accordingly. All right, so do not actually just submit by looking into the journal name itself, okay? Because the journal name usually is been simplified. They can be like quite short. Like for example, marketing, right? But many journal can have this kind of journal of marketing or journal of something, okay, called marketing, simple. But then you have to actually look into the number as well. Something similar like just an identity card that you have. Okay, so now the next one is of course about the journal recommender. So what is a journal recommender? After saying so many things, okay, so if you still find that the fact that it's really difficult for you to identify a couple of journal for you to consider, no worry. You can use a free service, a free tool called Journal Recommender that is embedded in each journal. Okay, this Journal Recommender will help you that you just have to enter your manuscript, your keywords, right? Okay, and then select the subject discipline and the indexing. Indexing means that whether you want them to be indexed in Scopus, you want to index in Web of Science. Then after that, you just find the journal. Then the Journal Recommender will kind of like recommend you a couple of journals for you to consider. Okay, this is step number one. After you submit your step number one, right? Okay, the next one I would suggest, or maybe you can consider using, will be Sage Path. This is also another free article transfer service. So what do we mean by that? Now, I mean, for any one of you here ever submit a paper before, you probably know that when I first want to submit my paper to first journal, I need to register my title, right? Okay, I need to open an account, register for an account. I need to enter my title, enter my author's name, their affiliation, then the abstract, the keyword, etc., etc. So many things to enter, right? Then after I submit, then just wait for them to see whether my journal article got accepted or not. So after going through all these, right? So let's say if the first journal did not accept my paper, I have to go to select the second journal and do this process all over again. Okay, register an account, enter my title, the abstract, the author's name, the affiliation, the keyword, blah, blah, blah. So many things to do all over again, right? So keep repeating the same thing until an article that I actually continue to actually proceed for the peer review. So let's say if you have 3 journals, okay, in the preference of number 1, number 2, number 3, then what you can do is that you just use Sage Path. Okay, you go to Sage Path and register. Okay, register. And after that, you only enter one time, okay, all the necessary information, okay, all the bibliographic information, the title, the abstract, the keywords, the author's name, the affiliation, etc. You only enter one time. Then this system will automatically help you transfer to journal 1, route you to journal 1 and ask, okay, if the editorial file it is okay, then they will actually proceed. If the editorial file cannot, then they will automatically route you to journal 2, all right? Ask for the, okay, for like a pre-review to see whether they are accepted or not. If the journal 2 accepted, then all the information will be automatically routed to journal 2. So it is an article transfer service, okay, free of charge, that you don't have to keep repeating yourself, okay, register, re-register, re-register, you understand what I mean? So that it can actually kind of like helping you to save some time, okay? So for those of you who would like to actually see this service, okay, later I will demonstrate to you very quickly where these services lie, okay? Now, of course, okay, we also provide a lot of other I would say free services and tools to help you for our users who are ready to start writing their papers. Okay, that's called the Author's Gateway. Okay, we have a lot of information. One of the things that I would like to highlight to you is our How to Get Published webinar series. All right, you can see that, okay, our webinar series, okay, have won the SSP Epic Awards. It means that it is really, I would say, one of the best, okay, in the market, that we actually do a lot of I would say this webinar series on how to do research and how to get published webinar series to help our user. So you can see that the upcoming one, right? Okay, is like conducting independent research, for example, okay, publishing as a clinician. These are more topic specific. The reason is because over the years, we have done enough on how to write and structure an article, how to select the right journal, how to write a literature review, how to convert, okay, your dissertation to a manuscript. We have invited a lot of our editorial, a lot of our authors who are actually a real I would say researchers, I would say professors, teachers, right, who actually do this, I would say, day in, day out. And I will encourage all of you to, register whatever session that you are interested. If not, don't worry. You can always watch our recordings, all right? They are all available online there, okay? I hope this will actually kind of like helping you, okay, to some extent. okay, to do it. Okay, so for the benefit of our user, okay, very quickly, now I just toggle over to our Sage journal. Same here. Once you go into our Sage journal, okay, .sagepark.com from within your university, or then you should see, okay, I've accessed through, okay, your university name instead of here because I'm working on using my own account. So I'm seeing my institution as Sage, but for your case, you should be able to see your university's name appear here. All right. If you have remote access, make sure that you have logged in your remote access first before you actually log into your this is Sage journal, right? For you to actually receive, okay, the author gateway, right? You just information for authors, then this is the place where you'll be able to see, okay, the information for authors, and your publishing journey and etc. Okay, everything that I've explained just now, choosing the journals is all available here. All right, how to get published, and we have a lot of webinar series here. Okay, I hope that this will be able to help you, in one way or another. Okay, that is the first part, okay, that we are going to cover for the selecting the journal, and now we'll move on to the second part, which is, okay, for some of our users here who use the Gen AI, generative AI in your research, and where are we going to do it, and how are we going to be cautious, okay, about what are the areas that we need to pay attention. Yeah. Okay, so number one, okay, this is a statistics, okay, a statistic you can see it here. Okay, a lot of our user actually 92%, in fact, 92% of users, okay, uses Gen AI. Okay, this is a statistics, okay, done by the Forbes magazine in, okay, 2025. So it is quite common, okay, and in fact, it's actually more and more common that our users are using, okay, AI to help internal research. Now, what happened here is that, okay, so recently we have conducted a webinar, okay, inviting two, okay, prominent professor. One is Professor Eileen Chapman from the University of Western Australia. Another is Professor Lee Chu Keong from Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. They shared the fact that, okay, during the age of AI, how they are feeling, okay, comfortable in using AI to help them in terms of research. Yeah. So Professor Lee actually highlight the fact that, okay, he will use the AI, okay, to help him in summarizing the research papers. Now, I think many of you now understand the fact that, okay, a lot of publishers started to put, okay, summarizing the research article into their, okay, database in order to help our research to actually read faster. However, there's something that, although it is doable, which I also agree, saying that fact that you can use it, but you have to use it with a mind, understanding the fact that AI sometimes, and in fact, okay, because it is a generative AI, they can create something out of itself, okay, without the following exactly what will happen in the paper. There is a potential. I'm not saying that every time it will happen, but what I'm trying to highlight to you is the fact that there is a potential. Therefore, by just reading the summary itself, all right, is not 100% safe. It's not foolproof. Yeah, you have to be very careful the fact that some of the facts may be created, okay, or generated or hallucinated by the AI itself. So every claims that the AI summarize for you, we have to do a check. Okay, I have to check against the original article to see that whether that statement, the claims, is in fact, okay, stated somewhere, okay, among the papers that you have asked the AI to do the summary. Yeah, so it is doable for sure. Okay, there is a certain level of accuracy for sure. However, there's also a potential that AI may fabricate something, and you need to counter check. Yeah, okay. So if today you only have 5 papers, I would suggest don't use AI. Okay, you will just do the summary yourself. If you read the abstract, okay, which is generated by the author himself, okay, which is the most accurate one. But in the event that you have 50 papers to summarize, and within a short time frame given to you, no choice, okay, I understand, then you need some tool to help you. In this situation, yes, maybe using this AI could help in one way or another, but always counter check, okay? Number 2, identifying a blind spot. Now, you see, it is not easy for a researcher, okay, even within the same laboratory or within the same, I would say, research group, a research team, right? Because research is kind of like individual, right? You do your own research, I do my own PhD. We all doing their own work. We cannot be exactly identical. So in other words, right, you do not really have someone that can, I would say, fully understand exactly what you want to do. And to identify a researchers that, will be able to, like challenge you, okay, to brainstorm together with you, okay, it's not easy. Okay, for that aspect, I think it is okay. Okay, and in fact, okay, Dr. Lee also say that he will use AI, okay, to play the devil's advocate. Meaning to say, right, once you have an idea, okay, then you want someone to brainstorm with you, want someone to challenge your idea, then AI can possibly do a good job because they are so knowledgeable, right? They never forget things. So the moment they have been trained by the large amount of information in the open science, then they will be able to, they will kind of like see things, okay, deeply because they are very quite knowledgeable. But I have to bear in mind, the training data by the AI is also biased. Okay, not that AI deliberately want to bias, okay, but the fact is that AI are not controlled, okay, by what they want to be trained. It is that the training data fit into them and train them will make what the AI smarter or less smarter, right? So imagine if the training data are limited or if the training data fed into the AI are biased, therefore, the perspective of AI could also be biased or limited. When they challenge you, then they will also lack of that area of accuracy. Now, this is something that you also need to be mindful. However, there's another thing that we need to be very careful is that even if the training data even if the training data is able to challenge your idea, but you need to ask yourself, okay, when you ask the question to the AI, are you also contributing or volunteering or maybe kind of like giving away, okay, your original idea to the AI, all right, as part of the training data? So you need to be very careful in that sense as well, whereby you need to be very critical in selecting what are the information that you would like to share with the AI, okay, and what are the information you want to preserve, okay? But if you're just in the stage of starting to, finding out idea, solidifying idea, identifying a direction, like brainstorm, you haven't finalized the research question that you want to do, then you are on the safer side because it's just, brainstorming, trying to find out more information, and then AI could possibly do a very good job for that. Yeah. Okay, then of course, the most common one is to rephrase sentences to be more elegant, right? That means if you have, let's say difficulty in, express, in a very elegant format, okay, the paragraph, beautify the paragraph, and then of course, okay, AI can do a good job. Prof. Elaine also highlight the fact that you use AI only as your assistant, but you don't trust them. It's just very simple. Today you have students, right? Okay, let's say, okay, from the final year students actually coming to 3 months will help you, okay, because they want to have a feel about how research look like. But then after the students have done something for you over the 3 months period, and then they submit a report to you, do you trust it entirely, wholeheartedly? Naturally, no, right? What we'll do is that we'll still ensure that we check the content, okay, whatever that they submit, are they accurate? Okay, whatever they analyze of them, okay, does it make logical sense, right? So as a research assistant, okay, you have to check. So same here, when AI give you a work, you treat it as an assistant's work, you check it, all right? You ensure that, okay, everything that present to you, if whether you are agree or not, right? If you are not agree, make sure that, you override, okay, because you are the brain, you are the driver, okay, not the AI, okay? You just don't take entirely, okay, without even checking through. This will be actually very, 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 I'll say, dangerous. Yeah. Always remember, human in the loop, meaning to say, it is okay to use it. However, okay, whatever that they present, not necessarily is the accurate one. You have to actually ensure that, okay, you are the one in control. All right. If you are not in control, then then you will be rightly, okay, misled by the AI, because you have to understand the fact that AI got its own limitation, which later I will summarize for you again. All right. So another professor, okay, Professor Emeritus Gary Thomas, okay, ever done a webinar for us. And in this webinar, right, okay, this is actually highlight about the literature review, because a lot of our users actually use AI, especially for the literature review and about the research question, which become a bit worried, okay. I mean, sometimes for our researchers, the fact that you have to understand the fact that because AI, okay, do not understand the context of your research. And that's the reason why, although they can highlight, okay, what are the strengths of a paper 1, what are the weakness of a paper 2, what are the gaps in paper 3, they can all highlight to them. But when they put everything together, they may not coherently, okay, putting into the right context. And that's the reason why AI cannot do it yet, okay, effectively in terms of doing a very thorough literature review. They summarize the whole thing, but they may actually generate an idea, okay, or maybe something like that it is not being stated in the paper. They may actually mislead by actually suggesting something that's not being mentioned in the paper. Okay, of course, I'm not saying that entirely is wrong. What I'm saying is that there could be a possibility that they suggest something wrongly. So that's the reason why if you just have upload into, let's say, 50 papers into the AI, ask them to generate, and then you just take the summary and as it is, right, then you're putting yourself at risk. Okay, they can do the summary, but you need to actually refer back to the original papers. Okay, and check it through whether whatever that they claim is accurate or not. And for that, okay, Dr. Zina or Larry also I would say resonate in what exactly Professor Gary Thomas has mentioned. In fact, she does not agree the fact that if we use AI after summarizing the entire literature and come up with a research question or hypothesis, at this moment, AI cannot do yet is, can they do a research question? No. Okay. Remember, Professor Lee is only for brainstorm. Professor Lee didn't say that, okay, the research question is being formulated or being, come out by AI. It's different thing. Yeah. Okay. So that means that you don't understand something. So we use AI to help us to learn something more quickly. All right. Then after that, we narrow it down. Okay. And deep dive into a particular knowledge. Okay. So maybe you deep dive into domain 1, domain 2, two different knowledge, then you deep dive. Then after that, you want to actually identify a research question yourself, okay, but not asking the AI to come up for you. So this is what all the professors, okay, in agreement saying that, okay. Number 2, okay, they do not design a research method for you. Now, in our research cycle, I think a very important part will fall under the literature review, because this will largely affect, okay, how accurate or how well when we, formulate our research question. And part 2 will be when you design and plan, how are you going to approach, okay, the solving of your research question, okay, and by what research method that you're going to use it. Different research methods will yield different results, right? And different planning of the research will actually come up, okay, likely, right, or affect, okay, the accuracy, the time, the money needed, the funding that you spend, etc. So that's the reason why these two very important steps, right, understanding the research, I would say, gap, and then planning what you can do, it become very important. So this again, okay, it has been highlighted the fact that when you want to design a research method, then you know that it is not, okay, that simple. All right. So that's the reason why we want to actually highlight the fact to you, the fact that if today you would like to using a research methods, okay, in designing that, then it's something that you also need to be very careful. Yeah. Of course, okay, fully interpret a data, no way. Okay. You may have conducted your research in part 1, in part 2, and part 3, and then you want to upload all the data. Okay, number 1, risk direct. Okay, you are giving away your data, your proprietary data, your original data, okay, to AI, which you cannot ask AI to delete, okay, in the future. This is something that you definitely don't want to do it. And number 2, okay, if you giving the AI to do the analysis, by trusting the analysis, then you are like not actually going through the practice yourself, okay, as a researcher, which are supposed to actually embrace the critical thinking mindset, right? And AI don't understand about part 1 and part 2 and part 3, and therefore they may interpret accordingly, okay, just to whatever that they were being programmed. And that's the reason why, okay, not every AI is suitable for every task that we ask them to do, right? So that's the reason why you cannot actually do it yet. Yeah. And of course, finally, it's a cohesive report. Okay. Now, a lot of, I would say, discussion and articles, I'm sure some of you have read it before, the fact that, okay, our undergrads, okay, use AI to write a report for them, and then it was being caught by the teacher, caught by the Turnitin, AI detector, etc. And that's the reason why, because AI do not write a cohesive report and in a human format, okay, they usually write in the whatever program format, okay, so that's the reason why the way that AI put the report together sounds, okay, or look very professional. It looks only, but doesn't mean that, okay, it reflects the actual meaning. You have to bear in mind the fact that as a researcher, the original contributions are more important, okay, than only the, the colorful of the visual, pictures or the very, I would say, expressive, okay, I would say, wordings that you use. No, it's not about that. It's more about what is your original contributions, okay, and what are the impact, okay, and etc. So a lot of times, right, simple English can explain and can do that, right? You don't have to be, really like I would say, to be an English teacher to be so good at English in order to write the best report, yeah, in the world. Okay, it's more about your contribution that's more important. All right. Okay. So, a very important, okay, post in the Scholarly Kitchen, okay, written by Isaac Wing, okay, who is the research data librarian by the University of Kentucky. In fact, this is something very important that I would like to highlight to you as well, okay. A real research is very often, they can be very messy and full of dead ends. Okay, this is real. I mean, being a researcher personally, when I did my first research, right, I noticed that, okay, when I read my first paper, right, I realized that all the papers are going towards different directions. Okay, they don't repeat the same things, right? Naturally, okay, every research are original, every research, okay, has its own uniqueness. But when they go all over the directions, right, okay, and we are supposed to identify, okay, a gap, then it becomes really, really difficult, right? Because it's actually more confusing to us. That's the reason why when we read more papers, more and more and more we read, right? Then slowly, we actually started to form thematics, the relationship between all these, I would say, tests, hypothesis, experiments, laboratory tests, etc. And then finally we see that, okay, people have not solved a certain issues. Okay, we are stuck with certain issues due to what? Okay, of course, we also read the limitations of the article, the limit, okay, what are the boundary conditions. Then by analyzing all these, then we start to think very critically to see why all the research cannot go into another area. Why? Okay, is it because of technology limitations, or is it because of there's no better methods of doing it? So looking at the current methodologies, okay, is there an improved way, or by combining, or maybe like just doing it? Okay, that's the reason why, okay, mixed methods, right, okay, become important, because sometimes the one method itself cannot solve a very complex issue, and you need a combination of different methods to actually solve one by one. All right, so that's the reason why, right, okay, when the AI tools make our research so much smoother, that means so much easier, right, it's actually, right, kind of like killing our brain cell. Okay, our brain cells, right, is at the entire idea of actually doing research, whereby you need to actually flex it. Okay, so the more you do it, the better you become, right? The more you think about it, the better you become. So when you're actually limiting yourself, okay, by saying that, oh, you know what, everything you just outsource to AI to do the thinking, AI will do the solving, AI will do the, analysis, at the end, there's nothing that you are able to do. So when the next time when you're given a real project, then that means without a tool, you just cannot survive. But the fact is that, okay, all our user, okay, before AI exists, it's already been working that. You know what? Because they are able to actually learn through the entire process. They continue to be in the driver's seat, understand that if today I'm not able, okay, to find a solution to this, then what are the next question that I'm able to ask? Okay, this is something that's very important. Okay, so becoming a good researcher is not only about learning how to get to the right answer, but it is very important that when the answer is not forthcoming, we don't get the answer, what is the next questions to ask? This is actually very important. And as a researcher personally, I think this is something that we have to be very, very, I would say, focused on these skills that, okay, that's able to give us, okay, because AI always give us an answer. And when AI always gives an answer, it ends up that we are losing, okay, we are losing our critical thinking skill. So I will encourage that you all just to actually scan this QR code, okay, to actually read about a white paper, okay, by a very famous, okay, author called Tom Chatfield, okay, who talk about advanced critical thinking. Okay, that's all about the thing, right? Okay, so when we talk about this thing, because you really don't want, okay, you can support AI. I mean, you can actually get a lot of great support by AI, but you don't want your learning process, your thinking process being interrupted by AI, right? AI, no matter what, they should only support but not replace your human thinking. All right. So that's the reason why I haven't seen that. Okay, it's very important that if you want to use AI, make sure that you need to actually declare. Okay. So now, I already mentioned this earlier. It's about the outsourcing. So meaning to say, right, if today we always outsource AI because AI always give us a very good answer, seemingly look at the answer, then at the end of the day, right, we are losing, okay, our human intelligence in long run, okay, that we are not able to think critically. Everything, right, you need, it's just like, okay, there's one time we say that, okay, if you keep using a calculator, at the end you are losing the calculation. You cannot even add on a simple mathematics. Then this is not good, okay, for human brain, right? Okay, you may end up with get faster dementia, right? So that's the reason why. So you can use it as a tool, but it cannot replace your critical thinking mindset, especially if you are going for higher degrees, such that, you know, you want to actually work for your your doctorateship, right? So that's the reason why it is very important, right? So this white paper actually highlight the fact that, okay, AI and human can actually survive in working in a dual capability. That means that they are our very powerful, extremely powerful, knowledgeable assistants. All right. And we don't have to live in like a dual situation whereby, okay, either you die or I die. Okay, have human, no machine, have machine, no human. No, you don't have to. However, okay, by able to understand their limitation, but use it as a very knowledgeable, very powerful, like machines to help you, okay, it only helps you to be more, to be more efficient, all right? Help you to be able to do more within a shorter time frame. So number one is very simple, demystify AI, meaning to say, you really need to understand the fact that, okay, the proper use of AI, what is their limitation, all right? Then you need to ensure that you either upskill your critical thinking, if not, you must ensure that you preserve, okay, your critical thinking skill set, okay? You need to be constantly in the driver's seat, right? Then with the help of this powerful assistant, your ability become augmented, meaning to say you become very efficient, you become very powerful, you are able to actually do more in less time or in less effort. And finally, through this collaboration, it will actually make into our next generation, okay? Okay, I would say our performance, okay, everything, right, become more powerful, etc. Right? So in summary, here, these are the limitations, okay, for the AI, okay? So number one, okay, always bear in mind, okay, credibility is a big issue for AI, okay? In fact, that, okay, they have done some statistical, or we say research, okay, it has been proven and shows that AI has this credibility issue, meaning to say that they will, because they have limitations to access to certain information, right? So they will just anyhow kind of like cite the information, cite a paper whatsoever, whereby this paper does not exist. So it's actually a ghost, okay, a ghosted, okay, article, okay, that means which it does not exist, okay, a ghost reference. Okay, number two, plagiarism. Have to bear in mind, plagiarism not necessarily presented in the form of exact matching of the paragraph or the words of the sentences. It can be, I read a concept, an idea, and then I write in my own way, but the idea is exactly the same, okay, but in my own word. Is it still a form of plagiarism? I think it is, right? Okay, so this is something that we have to be very careful. So AI can present you an idea, okay, but it's actually copied from somewhere. So if the credits was not given, then you know that it's actually plagiarized. Okay. Number three, privacy. Yeah. If you want AI to help you to analyze your findings, your data, then you have to be very careful. You are volunteering, you're giving away your information, something like free of charge to be a training data for the AI machines, because this is something that you have to be very careful. Yeah. Four is, of course, the fabrications. AI are so good, okay, but today you know that, okay, we are talking about research. We are talking about a research that's reproducible, that's about logical, sensible, not saying something that we are trying to be, come up with a fictitious or something that is fake. And that's the reason why when AI are able to combine things that is not practical, I think it is far beyond, research, I would say, concept. Instead, it become hallucinate. Okay, they are trying to fabricate something, right, which is not true. Yeah, of course, bias. Okay, not saying that AI is out there actively trying to, trying to kind of like mislead us. The fact is that AI training data, the machine itself also cannot control, okay, what kind of training data is being fed into the machines, right? So in that sense, you will notice that when the AI are not trained in a neutral format, whatever comments or analysis that they can give you, they are also biased towards, okay, according to the training data. Of course, the last but not least, the context is a limitation, all right? So they will usually generate the patterns, okay, without the true contextual understanding, all right? So especially the fact that when you are doing a cross-disciplinary research, okay, where they have limitations of understanding because this kind of information or data is not a lot yet, and they've never been trained, so then whatever that they can come out with the analysis or suggestion will be purely hallucinations, will be purely fabricated. Yeah. So this is something that you have to be, okay, mindful. Okay. So being able to understand this, being able to demystify, okay, the AI. Yeah. So if today you are using the AI, so as a big publisher from Sage, what we will suggest you to do, number one, And the very important one is just disclose, right? You must disclose, okay? For anything is considering a generated content, right? Be it a text, be it images, be it references or translation, you have to actually make sure that you disclose, yeah? And these are the requirements, okay? SAGE guideline. Number one, clearly indicate the use of language model in the manuscript. So for example, if today you are using Cloud, if today you are using ChatGPT, if today you are using Gemini, or if today you are using Copilot or whatsoever, you have to declare the language model. Number two, verify the accuracy. Everything that they give you, okay, can be, you know, created, fabricated, right? So you have to verify whatever that they mention according to this paper. Please make sure you check it is written inside the paper. Okay, as a you know, argument, right? Don't just trust it entirely, because it may be, I would say, right, not fabricated by the AI itself, right? The validity, the appropriateness of content and citation generated, okay, by the language model. And then of course, be very careful about the plagiarism, especially if they give you an idea, don't trust the idea come from the machine, right? You have to be, it may be copied from somewhere, right? And of course, the potential of fabrication, and also AI cannot be listed as your co-author, yeah? AI don't have to go into your acknowledgement field as well, okay? But AI should go into your declaration of AI use, yeah? That particular field. So even COPE, Committee of Publication Ethics, also to state the very fact that, okay, authors are fully responsible for the content of their manuscript, meaning to say, if today you use the AI, you are accountable. You are seriously accountable, and therefore, you know, when a reviewer found that, okay, this is a plagiarism thing, then we cannot as an author say, oh, you know what, this is AI idea, give it to me, it's all AI fault. No excuse anymore, right? When this happens, as an author, when we accept it, we take it and we present it and we submit it, then it becomes our responsibility, right? So therefore, we are fully responsible. And even the European Commissions have the responsible use of AI, the living guideline. I just give it to you as a reference here, because I think it is very important for our user to understand the fact that everything that I explained to you, okay, it's not only about coming from SAGE as a big publishers, but also coming from a lot of association, a lot of, you know, this kind of like recommendation from the bodies that actually highlight the fact that, okay, this one, okay, like for example, okay, you have to check the use of AI policy and declare any use that. So you can see that they are all similar. We are all aligning, okay, when it comes to proper research, yeah. So this is an example of journal of management. You can see that, okay, the requirement, okay, for this particular journal, it states that you are required to disclose which tools was used and how it was used in the method section of all versions of the paper, okay. So of course, at the end of the day, we really want to highlight to you the fact that your submissions will not be rejected just because the disclose of the use of AI, right? However, if we are trying to hide and it was being caught by the editor, then of course the editorial will reserve the rights to reject the submission at any point of the time during the entire publishing process. Yeah, because okay, the AI can be used to help you, but you must know how it is being used. That's all they want to understand. And always remember, the underlying principle is very simple. Okay, it's not about asking you to report. It's more on the, are you able to be accountable? All right, I think the keywords here is really about the accountability. So whatever tools, even not AI, whatever tools, whatever machines that you use to do the experiment or whatsoever, you know that you are accountable because you are the author, you are the person in driver's seat, right? So our core belief remains the same. We believe the value of human creativity as well as human authorship. Well, large language model cannot be listed as our author in the work, and therefore our oversight, our intervention, and our accountability are continue to be paramount important. Yeah. Oops, I think I clicked wrongly. Okay, so there are key resources to help you for sure. Okay, so now you all understand the fact that, okay, the library has a subscription for Sage Journal. Okay, currently Sage Journal has more than 1,000 journals, okay, for you to consider, among which, okay, about 200 of them are open access, meaning to say gold open access. Okay, gold open access. So going back, if today you want to select the journals for you the submissions, right? Okay, you understand you have the APC, then you're open to all the 1,000 plus, okay, for you to consider. But if let's say today you don't have the APC, then you probably want to consider the remaining 800, okay, as the hybrid journal for you to consider, right? So this, and just bear in mind, the submission is all free. But if you make your article open access, then you have to pay only one fee, and that fee is called article processing charge, okay, in short, APC. All right. Now, bear in mind, okay, don't take any journal database as a pure journal database whereby you type in the keyword, you look for a paper, read the title, abstract, and then you download the paper, then save it, and then you read it, or then you analyze it. No, always remember your discovery can go beyond that, okay? And one of the very important, okay, discovery process is what we so-called the what we so-called the citation concept. I want to highlight to you the fact that, okay, you can discover using a, okay, very important features class as the most read, most cited, okay, and all these citing and references paper, okay? This is why it is so important. Okay, I just give you a few examples, right? So for example here, okay, journal of management, right? Okay, most cited, right, papers, right, is actually similar concept like what the Web of Science Scopus has been using. That is what is called the citation concept. A paper that is relevant to your article, okay, almost, okay, very, very important for you. Okay, you must read into the references, right? Okay, but you also read into the future citations, right? It will give you an idea of how the development, the application of these papers, okay, in different directions, okay, in different discipline. This is something very important, okay? Then you see how people actually leverage on the existing, I would say, findings and then be applied into another, okay, area. So same here, you can combine your expertise, okay, with a paper, okay, that you are with a paper that, you know, that means present, okay, the very important findings of the concept, and then how you'll be able to actually leverage that on work on the application. So how people do it as your case study, and how you are doing leveraging on your expertise become the real, I would say, challenge that you would like to think, okay, and become your, I would say, your potential, okay, new research area, all right? So at the same time, you'll be able in the very fastest time identify all the relevant papers, right? Okay, quickly. All right. So this is something that is very important. But then what about most read? Most read really means that, okay, what are the article that's most downloaded? Okay, most downloaded, okay, over the, okay, a stipulated time frame. Now, you have to bear in mind, right? Okay, for an article to receive the very first citation, it will take some time. So for example, a paper is being published, right? Okay, this paper, number one, they must be searchable by a future author. Then this future author have decided that this is the paper that he wanted to cite, and then he will start to use this paper, keep this paper, and then he will start to do his research. It will take another, let's say, shortest possible, about a year to finish. After the paper is being finished, he will take another, let's say, 3 months to 6 months to publish the paper. And only then, okay, once the paper published, only the authors got the first citation. So you can see that citations don't actually come in so fast. In certain field, yes, less than a year. However, in most field, it will take a longer period of time. And that's the reason why, in that case, right, you would like to also see what are the most read articles. That means when the article is being published, how come the download suddenly becomes so many? Then this will actually give you a very quick understanding, okay, about there are certain research leveraging on these findings of these papers, right? Okay, these most downloaded papers, right? Okay, to do something else. To do what? We don't know. Because until the papers, the future papers are being published, then we know all the various direction of where this research supports the become the fundamental and supports the future research. But before that, we do not know where the direction will go. But you don't have to care about that. All you care is leveraging on your current expertise. If these are one of the very important papers, and so many people start downloading them, read them, there must be something, the discovery, that worth for you to pay attention. Sometimes it can only make you to be, you know, kind of like quite updated in the field. But most of the time, okay, it gives you, okay, I think an opportunity to think about what else can you do leveraging on your current expertise. Can I actually, based on the current finding, and apply into something that I'm interested to do now, right? So this is something that, okay, you can actually understand the fact, yeah? Okay, so of course, we also have another tools and features that I wanted to highlight to you that's called the share access. So whenever you found an article that's relevant to you and you're working with someone, okay, let's say, okay, as your collaborator who who may not have access to such journal, okay, so what you can do is that naturally, if that person, that means your collaborator, don't have access to such journals, right? It is not right, yeah, theoretically, it is not right that for me as a user, I have access and then I just download the article and then I will just share it across. Theoretically, we are not supposed to. But what now we actually come out like brilliant features for you to embrace your collaboration. How? So you just go to your share options. You just get to your share options, okay? Okay, you select your share options. And from your share options, what you can do is that, okay, you accept the terms and condition, and then you copy the link. This link, when you share to your collaborators who don't have access to Sage Journal, okay, it will allow that person to actually read their papers, okay, in a read-only version, for an EPUB version, okay, read-only version, okay, and for the next 90 days. This is legal, all right? So in other words, right, it will actually allow you and your collaborators, okay, to be on the same page, that's able to read this entire paper, so that you can actually work collaboratively, okay, without any issue. Just, of course, please bear in mind, it is a reasonable, non-commercial, and non-systematic use, right? So naturally, for all our normal research, right, we're not going to kind of like systematically keep sharing or thousands and thousands of paper, right? So naturally, this is a normal use, right? So we understand. So of course, not for commercial, not for us to sell, okay? So in this one, this is really kind of like helping you, okay? So you don't have to worry that whether your collaborator have access to Sage Journal or not, okay? On top of that, it is also very important, okay, to highlight to you the fact that this will also allow you to promote yourself as a researcher, okay, when you go for a conference. So imagine today you have published your papers, right, in Sage Journal, right? So when I want to attend a conference, let's say, okay, then I will go to my LinkedIn and then I will put in saying that, okay, hello peers, I'm going to attend this conference and presenting a paper on blah, 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 blah. And this paper will be published in Sage Journal, right? Say, okay, here are the 3 highlights, okay? I will talk about this one, and the reason behind this one, okay? For anyone that is interested in the full paper, and then you attach this link. So it kind of like giving you the official way to actually advertise yourself to a public whereby you know that many people will not have access to Sage Journal, and therefore you don't have to worry about, you infringe the copyright issues, right? Because this is able to let your future readers to read this article, even in full text, in an EPUB version, all right? It's within 90 days, okay? Without any legal issues. Of course, the next thing that I want to highlight to you is the fact that currently the university also have campus access. So what is campus? Campus literally is actually a skills, it's an online course, okay, that actually leveraging on something that's very important for many of you. So now, this is actually, okay, the entire, I would say, pathway for a researcher, all right? Okay, so you can see that, right? Okay, information literacy, okay, are very, very important, okay? Whereby I will say that as a researcher, all of us, you and me, everyone, will need to have this information literacy, especially the fact that we are living in a world whereby we have so many misinformation and disinformation, right? So remember earlier I mentioned about the AI thing, and I say the critical thinking are very important. Okay, so how do you actually ensure that you have this critical thinking skill set, right? I did show the QR code, and then there is only like a webinar talking about, okay, the importance of critical thinking, and there are some simple and basic skills that we mentioned inside. But if today you want to have a more deeper, thorough understanding, okay, about what is critical thinking, advanced critical thinking, then here are the courses that is made available, right? And then we also have about reading journal articles, leveraging on Gen AI for academic excellence, etc. Now, of course, then we'll go in, then these are more for, like, for example, some of us may be using, okay, collecting social media data, okay, do your interviews, these are some of the very basic fundamental steps. And for some of us, our user here may be using Python, right, R programming, all right, to do your research. Okay, so here are some of the actual skills that's especially helpful for our user, all right, okay, doing research. So, and finally, we have how to get published. So if today, my session is really focused on selecting the journal, and this is really focusing on, okay, the rest of the, okay, other skill sets, where peer review, feedback, etc. Right? They also have a choosing a journal. You can actually read that as well, okay, and to see whether whatever that I explained today and versus what is covered in the course is similar or have more skills, okay, how more sharing to actually promote. Yeah, okay. So I would suggest that, okay, if some of you will be so there are many courses, okay, available inside. Okay, I think it is really like fundamental as a researcher. Okay, if the good thing about this Sage campus is that these courses are available to you 24/7. All right, at any point of time you can learn it, and then, right, if you are busy, you can drop it for, let's say, and go to do your things for 1 or 2 weeks time, and you can come back and continue the course, right? Okay, then of course you can rewatch the course if you need it. Yeah. Okay, so these are actually a lot of important, I would say, courses and skills are inside. So it's important for me to give you an example. So for example, right, today we are working on Sage Journal, right? Okay, so I'm doing this machine learning, okay, as my keyword, right? Then I found many articles, yeah. So one of the paper from Sage Journal and this is the journal, okay, an article from this journal called Industry and Higher Education. You can see that it is empowering undergraduates through machine learning. And then I realized that, okay, the article says that how the article really want to kind of like, you know, the objective is to show how business undergrads with no prior experience in coding can use AI and machine learning to solve business related problems, especially in human resource management problem. So this sounds like a human resource management research, right? But when I go into their methods, right, and I read, I noticed that actually they are using a programming called Python. Okay, and they say it's a dynamic extensible language that allows for modular and object-oriented approach in programming. In fact, Python is the top programming language according to 2 popular programming indexes. And then famous firms such as Google, Instagram, Netflix all use this one. So it is a human resource problem, but I need to know about Python. So imagine if today I may be a human resource, okay, I would say in the business school, right, by training my major, but it doesn't mean that I know Python. So in this case, what should I do? Then I can actually sweep it over to campus, okay, to learn about Python, okay? Naturally, I cannot learn Python, okay, from Sage Journal anymore, right? Sage Journal is about the literature. Literature won't cover too deep. Even this paper won't cover too deep about how the Python skill will be. So, but how are you going to use it? How to learn about this skill? You need to actually find somewhere else about research methods, all right? These are research methods, okay? So either you go to actually read some research methods book, but reading the research methods book, it doesn't guarantee you become a good practitioner, right? There's always the difference between a theory and practice. Yeah? I learned about the theory and I need a case study, an example, so that I'll be able to become, you know, as good as a practitioner, right? To be able to apply it, to use it, okay, in practice, right? So that's the reason why, okay, a course, okay, is always needed, okay, that after you have learned through all the theory. Yeah, okay. I hope I have, for that, right, I think it's very important that for me to highlight to you at the same time as well. So for example, okay, when you go to, when you are within the IP range of your university, all right, you just go to classroom.sagepart.com. It will bring you to the campus website. Okay, but please take note now, classroom.sagepart.com. Okay, so if today you are the first time trying to get yourself an account, you need to click register. When you click register, right, theoretically, you should see you are a user from your university, UM, right? You should see that, all right? I'm showing you here because I'm logging in from my account. Therefore, I will see Sage Publishing, but you should see your authenticated user from as well. You're within your IP range, you should see your university name appear. Then you just do a simple registration. Once you register, then you click sign in. Okay, you can sign in anywhere in the world. Okay, even without your authentication system. All right, because you are registered as a user already. All right, and that will attribute all your usage to your university. Okay, I hope that this is something that are important. Always remember, classroom.sagepart.com, go to register, and you should see you are authenticated user from where your university name will appear here. All right, okay. Again, University Negeri Malang, okay, it should appear here. Okay, then you just complete your registration, then you can sign in from here. Okay, so I hope this is actually something important for you. Okay, we are okay. For this workshop, I'm going to throw in one kind of like highlight more important things. Okay, remember just now I mentioned the fact that okay Professor Elaine from University of Western Australia say that better prompts, better answers, right? Okay, so for that, okay, in fact, one of the course, okay, the art ChatGPT is already inside the Sage campus, okay, developed by our called like the guru, okay, Professor Liu, okay. In fact, right, okay, because ChatGPT, they are working based on something called the predictive modeling. Therefore, in order to be able to come like, you know, be more expert, okay, in doing the prompting, right? So actually, Professor Liu had proposed a framework called, okay, CLEAR framework. Okay, CLEAR represents concise, logical, explicit, adaptive, and reflective. Okay, so it's easier for me to maybe to give an example. So what does concise mean? Okay, concise means that, okay, when you try to prompt, okay, be it a ChatGPT or maybe a Copilot or Gemini, right? Okay, just go straight to what you want the machines to do, right? Don't keep creating something that's irrelevant. Like for example, right, you say, I'm very interested in the French Revolution. Tell me about all different factors that led to the French Revolution. I think the first statement, I'm very interested in the French Revolution, is just extra. It serves nothing, right? The machines don't have to know that, right? So you literally just say, summarize the main cause of French Revolution. Then straight away, you get what you want, right? So stay concise, okay? Number 2, logical. It is less logical when you tell the machine saying that, what is the process of scientific method? What scientific method? Even if today you ask me, I will find it very confusing, right? So straightforward, you just tell me, you just tell the machine, outline the steps in scientific research from hypothesis to conclusion. This is becomes straightforward, right? Then it make more sense rather than leaving a very vague prompting, okay, for the machines to give you an answer. Bear in mind, the machine won't tell you your prompt are very vague. The machine will just immediately process and give you a seemingly perfect answer, which is actually become not good for us as a user, okay, when we do not know how to prompt. Yeah. Number 3, explicit. List 5 renewable energy sources and detail their working mechanism in a table format. So this is very clear. There's no ambiguity. Number 1, I need 5 what? Renewable energy. And I need what? Their working mechanism in detail. In what format? Table format. Very clear, very explicit. Okay, there's no ambiguity in my prompt. Right. Number 4, adaptive. So what adaptive is that? For example, remember we talk about brainstorming, we talk about learning, we talk about AI is very good at helping you. Yeah. So if today you are not very sure about renewable energy sources, then you can actually ask ChatGPT, say, tell me about renewable energy sources. Then AI will tell you, oh, there are solar, there are wind, there are hydroelectric, there are geothermal, and there are biomass, all types of, okay, available renewable energy sources from what the ChatGPT, the very knowledgeable ChatGPT know, right? According to what they know, according to their trained data. Fair enough. Not everything that we know, right? But if today you only want to focus on, let's say, solar and wind energy, then you say, compare the efficiency and environmental impact of solar and energy. That means you only want to know these two. You just don't want to know more about biomass or geothermal, right? Fair enough. And then just compare. Then straight away, they will actually, based on this one, they will give you a very focused comparison only between these two. All right. Yeah. So you can actually become adaptive. So you don't know something, you want to learn something. After that, you can deep dive something. So that means from a bigger, then you narrow it down. You can dive deeper. You can actually narrow it down further. Right. The last one is reflective. All right. Reflective really means that, for example, provide an argumentative text in climate change. All right. Then the AI will tell you, oh, you know what? Okay. The advantage is this one. The disadvantage is this one. AI will always being programmed as a balanced view, right? They try to not to take side. However, let's say today, because you're doing research, right? You really want to know, to learn something. So then you ask the AI, argue in favor, okay, of an immediate action to combat climate change using scientific evidence and support. But of course, even though you use scientific evidence, that doesn't mean that the scientific evidence that AI side is always accurate. Yeah. Remember the limitations we mentioned earlier is about the credibility issues. Yeah. Okay. The plagiarism issue whatsoever. Now, this is something that you need to be mindful. Then, of course, then AI will give you the answer. Okay. So you can use AI, okay, in a effective prompting framework. However, it is also very important that while you're using AI to augment your ability to do more in a shorter period of time, to let AI do all the laborious job, always just bear in mind, okay, what are the limitations of AI? And even if something they give you, you always need to ensure that you check. But of course, when you want to do something else, always remember you have to keep a good logbook, how you prompt it, what is your prompt, when, and what is your things to find. And also very important is that you have to bear in mind when you write your paper, please make sure that you declare. All right. Okay, so with that, I think I'm going to kind of like complete my presentations, and we will go into a quiz time. All right. So how are we going to do it, Mutiara?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lim, for the wonderful workshop and insightful sessions. And now we are going to move to a quiz session, which saya akan lead pakai bahasa Indonesia. Jadi untuk yang pertama, Dr. Lim akan membacakan pertanyaannya, kemudian nanti teman-teman, Bapak Ibu rekan-rekan silakan menjawab pertanyaannya melalui kolom chat. Kemudian diharapkan jawaban diberikan di kolom chat setelah Dr. Lim menyelesaikan pertanyaannya terlebih dahulu. Seperti itu. Untuk hadiahnya akan dikirimkan ke perpustakaan terlebih dahulu. Jadi jika Bapak dan Ibu rekan-rekan berhasil memenangkan kuisnya, gitu ya, hadiah dapat diambil di perpustakaan setelah hadiah tersebut kami kirimkan ke perpustakaan. Kemudian, oke, ini untuk batas pertanyaannya saya kirimkan di chat. Nanti jika ada pertanyaan terkait kuisnya boleh juga ditanyakan di kolom chat. So, Ki, you can start the quiz.
Okay, so the answer of the quiz, I will make it simple. I know that you cannot some of them you may not want to unmute yourself, or maybe kind of like so I made the quiz into A, B, C, D. All right, so the fastest one will win. So you just have to make sure you open your chat box, right, Mutiara, and then once you identify the answer, quickly enter your answer into the chat box. Okay, the fastest one to get the answer right, will become the winner. All right, there will be four answers to each question. Only one answer is correct, and then you just have to type in the alphabet A, B, C, D. All right. Okay, so let's go for the first question. In a clear framework, what does adaptive refer to? A, B, C, or D? D, 1B. Okay. So the answer is B. Okay, changing prompt based on previous AI response. All right, the first one who actually recorded in the chat box, which shall be the winner. All right, the second is now we go to question 2. Okay, reflective prompt engineering involve A, B, C, D. Wow. Okay, I can see B, I can see C. Okay, the answer is C. Okay, analyzing AI response to improve future queries. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for many of you. Okay, for your active participation. Okay, so now we have third question. So Mutiara have make insert a break line. Pertanyaan ketiga. What does logical in a clear framework emphasized? A, B, C, D. A. Wow. A. Arya, D, A. Wow. Everybody say A. Okay. Okay. And wow. No, they are C. Okay. People say C. Okay. All right. Okay. So the answer is A. All right. Structuring prompts with a clear and coherent flow of ideas. Okay. So I would like to thank everyone. Okay. This is thank you for your attention and really focus on what I've just explained towards the last. After a long 1.5 hours of presentation, I think this has been very good. Okay, to actually see that many of you be able to kind of understand this. Okay, the explanation well. Okay, let me make it small. Okay, so this will be your hands out. So I will hope that many of you here will take a screenshot. Okay, use your handphone, take a picture. If not, just use your handphone camera to scan the QR code. This will be your hands out for today's presentation. All right, we have a lot more information to share with you. Okay, publishing from the submission to acceptance. I know I just cover one part of it on selecting the journal, but there's a lot of other parts, of how you actually do your submission, on how to get published. So send this QR code for your future. All right. But then before I go to the question and answer, I also want to take this opportunity to kind of like promote and highlight the fact that for those that did not actually win anything during this webinar, don't worry. You still have chance to actually win a bigger prize. Okay, there is a usage campaign that's been running through, in the country, in Indonesia. So quickly go to actually attend a short online quiz, 6 simple questions. Okay, they are really simple, in fact. All right, and then you might be one of the lucky winner to stand a chance to win an Apple iPad, Apple AirPods, or even grab some, okay, grab gift cards. Okay, so I hope that you could be one of the lucky winners. Okay, and all the best. Yeah. Okay, with that, I think we can go into our question and answer. So let me stop sharing now. Have you taken this QR code? Yes? Can Okay, so if you're done, then I will stop sharing. Stop sharing now, and then I will go to look into the question and answer.
So
Yes.
we can have 3 questions first due to the limited time that we
Yes.
have. So the first questions come from Miss Nurika. So Miss Nurika asked, if we send articles with the hybrid method free APC, will the publication time be longer than a paid journal open access?
Send article with the hybrid method free APC, will the publication be longer than a paid journal open access? Okay, open access or hybrid journal, they both having similar stringent criteria in selecting the journal criteria, in selecting or reviewing a journal. Okay, don't ever think that open access are lenient. Okay, they are easier to get accepted. Okay, and also don't have the impression saying that the hybrid or we say the traditional journal are more difficult to get published. There is no such thing. Okay, a good journal quality, okay, are being, I would say, like really reviewed by the peer reviewers who are really out there, okay, professionally to review the quality of the paper. So whether you submit to a hybrid journal or an open access journal, if it is a very top ranked journal, then you know that how to say, if it's a top ranked journal, usually, right, the acceptance rate are lower and it will take a longer time, okay, to get accepted, because a top very quality, they receive so many submissions, so many until they need to pick 1 out of 500, for example. And that's the reason why they need to go through a lot of reviewing process to make it possible. And that's the reason why I say, no, okay, hybrid journal doesn't mean a longer time, no such thing. Okay, so you go back to the journal metrics, remember? So you look into the submission, the acceptance rate, look into the time to first peer review, etc. That will give you a better, I would say, reference, okay, in terms of the time needed, but there's no such thing as in hybrid journal will take a longer time than a shorter one. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yes. Wait. Okay. Our my my counterpart. Okay. Mutiara's internet got some problem. She got locked out. No worry. So I will. Luckily, okay. I already received a question. Okay. So let me read the second question. Okay. While we are waiting for Mutiara to come back. Okay. The second question is from Mr. Pak Fendi. Okay, he asked, how can we check if the journal is the real one instead of the problematic journal? Okay, so number one, it's good that you go to official journal homepage like Sage Journal and identify the right journal that you want to submit. That is number one. Okay, number two, if you are not very sure, then don't do it yourself. What I would suggest is you go to the library, okay, and ask the librarian to help you, because they are the professional, all right? They understand what are the journals that officially subscribed by them. And if they happen to find a similar name, from a predatory journal compared to a official authentic journal publishers, then they can even write to, let's say, for example, Sage or other publisher to confirm. And always remember, a journal name can be identical, but the journal ID, which is the ISSN, will not be identical. So you have to always check, okay, what is the ISSN number to ensure you submit correctly. And of course, last but not least, you can use the free services like the Think, Check and Submit.org, that one for you to actually do the submission. I hope that I will be able to help you, okay? Then you identify, okay? So just be extra careful, because there are a lot of predatory journal out there. They can claim that they are indexed in Scopus, they claim that they index in Web of Science, they claim that they have all sorts of metrics, including impact factors. Just don't trust. Make sure that you check accordingly, right? If you use Sage Journal, you read the journal and you know the ISBN, and you submit to that journal, then you know you are safe. So when you want to submit, you submit through the authentic page. How? You go to the Sage journal, right? The home page will have a submission. You click on through that, then you know that you are safe. Okay. Then of course, library is the one. Okay. Then of course we have Miss Hardit. Yeah. Is there the third question? Is there any international recognized AI usage guideline for article publication that is widely used? AI usage guideline. Okay, so I would not say that there's no like a usage. Okay, no. Okay, as far as I know, there's no such thing. All right. Number one, AI is developing faster than we as a user, okay, are chasing behind. And number two, AI, there are many tools being developed. They're all developed for different purposes. Not all AI specifically developed for research use, right? No AI specifically developed for analyzing research data use. And research data come in different format, right? For example, today, your research data can be an interview, which become qualitative. But some of us, our data are just collect numbers, they become quantitative. But there's no one company would develop a AI use only for qualitative, quantitative, or even a mixed method, right? Only for research use. If they develop something, it is for a generic purposes. And that's the reason why it is just like part of the, we as a researcher just leverage on this, trying to use it only. So that's the reason why I say that there's no one thing that they will specifically develop for something to use. Just like, some people would say, oh, currently the most in trend in generating the PowerPoint is Gamma. Well, but before Gamma is other things. You get what I mean or not? So there's no such thing as something that they will recommend you to do it. Okay. But you can choose to what AI tools you want to use, but just bear in mind, okay, the limitation of AI, and because of the accountability issues, so are you able to take full accountability, okay, when you use an AI? So if you are able to, then you have no worry to declare, right? Then the proper use of AI to enhance, to augment your capability is fine, but you must take full accountable and you must understand the limitation. So how you use it correctly, logically, sensibly become very important. Okay, so I hope I answer your question. Yeah. Okay. Yes, there's something with my internet. Okay. Okay. So now, I've answered 3 questions. So is there any other questions? From anybody? Let me see. There are 3 more. Okay. 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 There are many conversations coming in. Okay. Let me see whether there's any other question or not. Article, the first one answered. How can we check is real one instead of problematic journal? Okay. Is it recognized AI usage? Okay. Yep. I think we have no other questions. All right. If there's any other questions, kindly type in now.
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Just now my internet connections went bad.
No worries.
So thank you so much everyone for joining today's workshop. Due to the limited time that we have, if you still have further questions, jika Bapak dan Ibu masih memiliki pertanyaan lebih lanjut, boleh disampaikan nanti kepada tim perpustakaan. Nanti tim perpustakaan akan menyampaikan pertanyaan tersebut kepada kami. Sekali lagi terima kasih banyak untuk Dr. Lim Khee Hiang yang sudah memberikan presentasinya terkait dengan Publishing Smart. Semoga apa yang tadi disampaikan bermanfaat untuk kita semua. Kemudian selamat untuk 3 pemenang yang telah memenangkan kuis tersebut. Silakan nanti hadiahnya diambil ke tim perpustakaan, tapi memang hadiahnya masih dalam proses pengiriman dari tim Sage ke tim perpustakaan. Kemudian jangan khawatir, teman-teman, Bapak dan Ibu masih bisa mempunyai kesempatan untuk memenangkan kuis yang masih juga sedang berlangsung yang diadakan oleh Sage, yaitu Sage Usage Campaign. Nanti posternya akan juga dikirimkan kepada tim perpustakaan. Sekali lagi terima kasih banyak Bapak dan Ibu. Saya kembalikan kepada Pak Sabto selaku MC. Terima kasih banyak teman-teman, Bapak dan Ibu.
Luar biasa. Terima kasih Mbak Mutiara. Ini tadi sempat terkendala dengan kendala teknis ya. Oke. Bentar. Oke. Terima kasih Mr. Lim. Thank you, Mr. Lim. Oke.
Thank you.
Nah, hari ini tak terasa telah menuju ke penghujung acara webinar ini, Bapak Ibu. Kami mengucapkan terima kasih yang sebesar-besarnya kepada para narasumber, panitia, dan seluruh peserta atas partisipasi dan antusiasnya dalam kegiatan ini. Namun sebelumnya, izinkan kami untuk mendokumentasikan kegiatan ini. To take picture misalnya. Oke, Mbak Mutiara bisa didengar? Bisa mungkin semuanya untuk open kamera? Ya.
Bisa, Bapak. Mungkin yang
Bisa
ngomong dulu, Bapak. Silakan.
Halaman 1, siap-siap? Ya. Give you excellent face, please. Literasi, salam literasi, like this. Oke, Mr. Wijas, thank you. Oke. Setelah itu, turun. Oke. 3, slide 3. Oke, thank you semua. Oke. Semoga ilmu yang diperoleh hari ini dapat memberikan manfaat dan mendukung publikasi ilmiah yang berkualitas dan berintegritas Bapak Ibu semuanya. Saya R. Sabto Ibowo selaku MC memohon maaf apabila terdapat kekurangan selama memandu acara. Akhirul kalam, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih. Selamat siang.
Pak Sabto.
Terima kasih Pak Darel. Thank you Mr. Lim.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.